Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is INX Prime Live. Remember, we are on your screens every single Monday to Friday between the hours of 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. Now, it's important for us to find some of the most influential people, but also the people who are the most impactful. Now, today we are actually chatting to a highly respected international keynote speaker and someone who's also an author and has achieved so much in his life. We are actually chatting to Billy Selekane. Now, he is also a facilitator in that sense, but also the executive chairman of the Billy Selekane and Associates. Now, he has actually made a significant impact on the personal team and organizational effectiveness of corporates, individuals all over the world, be it in the Middle East, Singapore, Sweden, the UK, as well as the USA. Now, today we are excited to learn more about this upcoming event, which is actually called the Global Speakers Academy. Now, it is a full-day masterclass, and we actually have him in studio with us right now. Mr. Selekane, thank you so much for joining us on INX Prime.
Thank you very much for having me. It's an honor and a privilege to be here.
No, it's such a pleasure to have you. I just want to take it back. You know, at the end of the day, we look at international keynote speakers. They play such an important role because we have a lot of young people out there, a lot of, people that maybe perhaps feels very trapped in the corporate space. They might not have the right mindset. And we need people like you to come out and inspire them and, push them to the next level. But let's just chat about where it actually started. How did it come about? What inspired you to become an international best or keynote speaker in that sense?
Well, I guess every one of us, when we were kids, we've got all kind of funny dreams. You want to be a doctor, a policeman, and all these kind of things. And when my life, moved on as a teen, there was always this one constant in my life. I was always connecting and talking to people about all kind of things. And when my life hit a bump, when I was just like completely stuck, not knowing where I should go, I then asked this question that I usually say to people. This question is asked at two very extremes. The one extreme is you've made a lot of money, you've got all the trappings, but you feel there's a sense of emptiness in your life. You feel like you have not done anything. And the other extreme is you're absolutely poor. Nothing that you try and do works. You ask exactly the same question. Why am I here? So I got to the point in my life where I wanted to really find out, why am I here? Why is life so tough? Why are other people having it easy and everything that I'm trying seems to fail? And then I realized that until we question our intentionality, and for me, intentionality simply means, why were you born, where you were born, the gender that you are, the color that you are. And then I realized that each and every one of us has what I call a celestial assignment, an assignment that was given to you before you were born. And when you come and manifest the physical, spiritual, because we are physical bodies that are experiencing, that we are spiritual people that are experiencing a physical existence. Now, in our physical existence, we are brought on planet Earth to solve a problem. And your intention and your purpose then drives you to you solving that problem. And I think that's it. And a lot of people live their lives based on what their eyes can see, but not what their soul is comfortable with.
I think that's very, very powerful. Yeah. I just want to touch on the concept of being an international speaker or keynote speaker. The one thing I've learned from all these years is that a lot of them, as much as they might be great speakers, they don't know how to commercialize their brand and to be able to create something that has a legacy. Yeah. So you'll always see them being individuals. But, the ones that are really smart are the ones that create a holdings company or create a business or company behind it. Now, I know you actually have Billy Selekane and Associates, which is done incredibly well, exceptionally well in that sense. Tell us about the success that's been, behind the brand in particular, and exactly what does the company do?
So earlier on in my career as a speaker, I've studied a lot of other successful speakers, and I realized that until you treat it like a business, it might end up being a vocation that does not give you the return that you want. And I looked at different models from different speakers, and I realized that a lot of successful speakers replicated or duplicated themselves by teaching their methodologies to other people who can then go on their behalf and deliver whatever education process or programs that they had. So from day one, that was my thinking. My thinking was, there's one of me, there's 24 hours. And until I have the ability to use or work with other men and women to deliver my messages or programs that I create, there's no way that I can build a business. So for me, that's when the sense of saying, yes, I'm very passionate about this and I believe it's my gift, I believe it's my purpose, but it's not good enough until it can become commercially sound, until I can have a commercial return. So that was the thinking, but it was inspired by me learning the models of other speakers.
It's
that were truly successful.
Yeah, that's very, very true. And I mean, even if you're looking at the concept of what you're speaking about now, very few people invest in, creating other speakers.
Yeah.
So a lot of them are speaking directly to consumer and they do all these programs.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're willing to create another channel between you and the consumer is a very brilliant thing. I mean, that creates like the whole affiliate concept.
Absolutely.
In that sense. Yeah. But I just want to touch on this Global Speakers Academy. Right now, we know that you did, found it. It's an incredible academy. But let's just speak about the core objectives of it. What would you like to achieve, or what does it really stand for?
Yeah. So the big constant in my life that each time I'm on stage and I finish speaking, people always come to me and say, "Oh my God, you're so amazing. I can't speak like you." And I say, "Yes, you can't speak like me, but you can speak like you." And the thing is, you can only learn to speak like you if you find somebody who can give you the tools for you to do that. So I took a lot of time studying the science of speaking because a lot of people see the art. So for me, I wanted to find the science so that I could, I say to people that science is constant and art is flair, which means 2 hydrogen and oxygen gives you water. If you mix something different, you will not get water. So that's how specific science is. Now, speaking also has a science, and a lot of people don't know the science. So I took a lot of time studying the science, and each time people say to me, "Oh, you're great," I say, "You can also be great, but you just need to be taught how to become great." And then I said to myself, when I many years ago worked with young unemployed graduates, and we would take them through an interview process, and 100% of them would fail the interview. And these are smart people who've got A's in maths and in science and all these kind of things. And they failed because they lacked the ability to express themselves. So this is something that, as a young kid growing up in Tembisa and still very much in touch with my root, is the biggest challenge that we have. Young people go to university, but when they come out of there, they cannot get jobs. They cannot express themselves because they've not been taught how to do so. So the Academy's core responsibility is to teach people to tell their stories in their own authenticity. Because there's this misnomer or this kind of thing that says, "Oh, speakers are very loud people and very charismatic." That's not true. It's just that the charismatic and the louder ones are the ones that everybody sees. But they're the quieter ones who are just technically amazing because they're doing this business using their own authenticity. So Global Speakers Academy is exactly that. We're going to teach you how to tell your story in your own way, in a way that can impact and help you build a brand that can open doors that are closed at the moment. Some people have got great ideas, they can't pitch to an investor because they don't know how. So those are the things that we're going to be teaching people in the academy.
Yeah, guys, definitely remember that this Global Speakers Academy is open to everyone, whether you're someone who is an extrovert, an introvert. There's always a platform for you available. But remember, we're actually getting a lot of questions coming in from social media, Mr. Selekane, and we do have some comments as well. Neo was saying that he loves your content. He loves the content that you provide to the public. But then we also have Jessica. Jessica was just saying that we always hear about these master classes, but I wanted to know, in terms of their comments and their questions, when it comes to your masterclass in particular, it is an important one, but how does it differentiate from the other ones that are currently in the market?
So the difference between our masterclass and what's available in the market is I've personally handpicked the best of the best in the industry. Actually, one of the things that I say to people, on that day, on the 26th of July, in the continent of Africa, you're going to have the royalty of the speaking industry converged in the same environment. And I'll give you some names. I mean, you've got a guy like Dr. David Molapo. Dr. David Molapo is the guy that taught us how to do these things. We didn't even know there was motivational speaking, that you could be able to earn a living. David Molapo was the pioneer. There's a guy called Steph du Plessis. Steph du Plessis is the founder of the Professional Speakers Association of Southern Africa. He's also started exactly the same time like David Molapo. You've got Dishan Deisel. Dishan Deisel is a mountaineer and a speaker. She's climbed all these mountains, and I usually make a joke and say, "Dishan, I prefer helicopters." Carrying bags and going through the cold, that's not my thing. We've got Jabu Zwane, who's an amazing speaker, and he's growing in leaps and bounds, and he's going to be also teaching. We've got people like Spiwe Moyo. Spiwe Moyo, he's like the next generation after our generation that is just setting this country on fire. And we've got a guy called Brian Walsh. Brian Walsh runs the biggest speaker training organization in the world currently, where he connects learners and speakers to good content. So on that day, that's why it's called the business of speaking. We're going to teach you the technical side of the speaking and also the business side of the speaking. Because a lot of people want to learn how to speak, but they don't want to learn how to do the business. And that's why they can never be able to create long-term value. So it's going to be, like I'm saying, on that day in the continent, it's the convergence of the royalty of the speaking industry.
Yeah, it sounds like real heavyweights. You know, a lot
Absolutely.
of people are very familiar. I mean, we have Jabuz Wane doing a motivational segment here at INX Prime, which is incredible. But we also have heard of, you know, people like Brian Welsh as well as Dr. Malapo. I mean, these guys have really done incredible stuff. They've all spoken on platforms that have, you know, 10,000, 20,000 people at a time, even more. So I think that's really, really incredible. I just wanted to cover some of the other comments that are coming in. You know, people want to do, you know, identify or zoom into the specific topics or skills that will actually then be taught on the day. So I know you said obviously each speaker is going to bring something different, but maybe perhaps we can just give them a basic understanding of some of the skills that would actually be coming out of the exam.
So David Mulapo is going to be the opening speaker. He's going to be teaching about how to create a content that is impactful, because it's all about how you engineer your content so that it becomes impactful. And then we've got Steph, who's going to be giving a complete overview of the speaking industry, because a lot of people don't even understand, you know, the depth and the kind of wealth and revenue that's available in the speaking industry. So he's going to be talking about that. And then one of the speakers, one of the smartest people I've ever been in the same room with, is a guy called Graham Codrington. Graham Codrington is a futurist. He's the guy that sees the future. I think he's got a little ball in his house that tells him what's going to happen in the future. So he's going to be opening up the hood and teaching people the behind the scenes of a speaking business, because he runs one of the most successful speaking businesses that I know globally. I mean, if you Google him, he's in Turkey, you know, he's in Japan, he's in all these kind of places because of his sense of smartness. And then we're going to have a panel, and this panel is going to discuss what is the future of the speaking business with the advent of AI, with the advent of social media, with the advent of TikTok. You know, all of these things and these technologies have just come and converged, and people think, should I learn how to speak? Can the TikTok guys take me out? So we're going to be unpacking. And in that, we're going to have Zaz Molo, who's the head of the speakers firm. She'll be unpacking the future of speaking. We've got Saffron Bagale, who's been a speaker for quite some time. We've got Spiwe in that same light. And the cream of all of these people that are coming there, who's going to be the person that closes the event for us, is Professor Bonang Mohale. Now, Bonang Mohale, he's the wise man of the South. You know, there were wise men from the East, but Bonang is the wise man of the South. He's the current chairperson of Bidvest Group. And Bonang is going to teach us about the 5 pillars of building a legacy business. Because a lot of people don't know that, and for me, that's why I'm starting Global Speakers Academy. 100 years from now, this academy must still be operational without me being around. And that's what it takes to create a legacy business.
It sounds incredible. I'm sure a lot of people are definitely going to make their way to your event in particular. I just want to chat about, you know, issues as well that speakers face. I know that you work with a lot of young people and up-and-coming speakers. You know, I mean, we are getting comments, like I did mention. Zoe was saying that normally, you know, the confidence is a huge issue on why speakers don't do well. And then we also have Naledi saying that another reason why is because perhaps they didn't find their purpose. You know, the speaker didn't find their purpose as yet. What would you say some of the major challenges that, you know, speakers face when they get into the space of speaker development?
So you know, a lot of people always ask me this question: are you ever afraid before you go on stage? Because I speak to 10,000 whatever crowds, and I say to them, you know, we all have butterflies in our stomach, and the difference between my butterfly and the butterfly of other people is my butterflies are well trained, so they fly in the same formation. They are still there, but a lot of people's butterflies are not trained, and they fly in the whole, you know, and people get scared, their knees become weak, their mouth become dry, and they cannot, because they lack the training. And for me, that's what Global Speakers Academy is going to do. It's going to give you the technical and the scientific knowledge of understanding who you are and speaking at the place of authenticity. Not trying to be like me or trying to be like Steph or trying to be like Dr. Mulap, which is a mistake a lot of upcoming speakers do. I say to people, learn from as many people as you can, but remain true to who you are.
I love that. That's very powerful, Mr. Selekane. Thank you again for joining us tonight.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, guys. That is Mr. Billy Selekane. And now we do know they are hosting an incredible masterclass. It's actually called the Global Speakers Academy. It's a full-day masterclass, and it is going to be happening on the 26th of July. Make sure that you do attend and make sure that you do participate as much as you possibly can.